Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
For some reason, I did imagine like a fish tank. I was like, what?
Big fish. I wish. That'd be kind of cool, actually. Have a koi pond out in the backyard would be fun.
They get so gummy and gross, though.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, my grandparents used to live right next door to us. And their backyard was orange grove. And then running through the orange trees, the previous owner had built a waterfall on the back patio, and then it went down into the orange grove.
Okay.
And it was like a
little
creek,
stream.
like a stream, yeah. And it ended in a pond that was a 20-foot, 30-foot circle. So big pond, maybe not 30-foot, 20-foot circle.
Okay.
Right? It was large. And probably, it was deep. It was probably 2.5, 3 foot deep.
All right.
In the pond section. And then in the river section, it was only, a foot, maybe 1.5 foot on the deepest part. Anyway. And they had koi fish and all the different fishies in there and stuff like that. And but every morning when I was growing up, we would walk to school because elementary school was just right across like half a mile away or whatever.
Down the street.
We would go over there because my cousins were living at the time. This is turning into a way longer story than it meant to.
And your cousins, how old were they?
My cousins, they were 7, 10.
Give me their genealogy.
So anyway, fish pond. Every morning when we would start to walk to school, we would see this big...
Yeah, I can't understand that either. My watch probably didn't even pick up on the mic, but it's funny.
It's there was a big blue heron, which is like similar to like a stork, right? Or like a heron.
Those are not.
They're not like super common, but it would
Those
come.
are water birds.
Yeah,
in a desert.
Yeah, well, they have them at the lakes.
Yeah, or at.
So if you go early in the mornings, you can see them at the lakes.
There's the bird preserve down in Gilbert as well.
Yes, the
riparian,
whatever it is. Yeah. But yeah, so it would come and it would fly in, and we watch it. You could watch it fly in, and it would come in and land in the water, and then you like most mornings it would just stand there and chill.
Yeah.
But some mornings we would watch it like spear a fish, and it was super cool. And as like a young kid, you're like, "Whoa,
yeah,
that's a freaking predator!" And it's like a bird
in your backyard.
Yeah. And then because it was irrigated lots, we'd get ducks a lot as well.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which was always fun to watch the dogs like book it across the water, and the ducks wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. Classic.
Anyway.
Fun story about koi fish, right?
Koi fish and blue herons.
They were koi fish, right?
They were goldfish, koi fish, something other. There was a variety.
That was the segue, right?
Yes, it was.
It was related.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because you said koi fish pond.
Yeah.
That's in my mind. I said, my grandparents had a koi fish pond. Nice. There was a lot of koi fish in it. There was also like a lot of little goldfish. So.
Okay. Well, solid. Let's. It's good casual
start of the episode
segue, because this is all about free flowing conversation.
Yeah. Ryan just cuts all that out.
You're like, all right, that was dumb. Get that out of here. On to the meat and potatoes.
I love meat.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
Potatoes.
10 out of 10 would recommend. Controversy, not really controversy, but I thought it was a fun topic to bring up this week. This is kind of my sphere of gaming. And then I even had an update from like just today or yesterday, even though I posted this earlier in the week of like, hey, let's talk about this. The Japanese creator of the Dragon Quest series. Well, he's not the creator, but he's like the lead character designer. So
sure,
he didn't code the games, but he does all the art. I forget his name. It's Akira Toriyama, I believe is his name, because he also did some of the Dragon Ball character design. So famous Japanese artist guy, like going back decades. He had like an interview this week because they're kind of advertising they're ramping up for Dragon Quest 3 HD remake, and I think they're porting it in English. I don't remember if that one ever got ported over to English, but Dragon Quest is like, if you haven't heard, big. It's akin to Pokemon. It just didn't get as much Western popularity, but it's a huge video game series in Japan. They've got the iconic like blue slime as their mascot instead of a Pikachu. And they're doing this HD remake. He had an interview, and he said some pretty funny anti-woke things because of they're working with like the localization team, and the American localization team had to do some censorship or whatever. And on his character designs, right, he's like, "Oh, I'm just like remaking from this game 20 years ago, like, except now it's a 3D model, like." And so yeah, there was like a girl who had like bikini bottoms on or whatever, and then like a what's that called? Not like a loincloth, but like when you're wearing like a
skirt.
Yeah, but just down the middle, like a regalia, you just have that piece of cloth hanging down between your
apron?
legs. Yeah, like an apron type thing.
I don't know what that.
I'm thinking like some Space Marines have it. Like,
oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, just the like ceremonial apron.
I don't know.
Anyway, one of his characters had that because she was like a warrior gladiator woman or whatever, and then they had to like, for the American version, they had to make it like shorts, and then the ceremonial apron.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right? And he was just like, some of the things he said translated from Japanese, he was just like, I hate working with America. Like, they're so annoying with their censorship. He's like, yeah, we have to appease them. We have to appease the whole Western, not culture, but
it's not the Western culture.
No,
because it's just these stupid people who, which is interesting because like, sorry, were you done?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
That's basically what he said. He's just like frustrated working with American censorship.
Yeah. It's not. That's so weird.
It's like, this is my character. This is who I made. And then they're like, oh, we got to change this because it's not appropriate or something.
See, this is my opinion. And most people will echo this opinion. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Hence,
pretty simple.
Why there's a ton of games that have all this bull crap in them that are failing and losing hundreds of millions of dollars.
As we have talked about.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Recently, especially, a lot.
And guess what? That's how the capitalism works.
Mm-hmm.
The capitalism. That's how capitalism works. That's how free markets work.
Mm-hmm.
If you make something and it's bull crap, no one's going to buy it.
No one's going to buy it.
If you make something and it's magnificent, everyone's going to buy it.
Yeah.
Or you price it out to make, you have your graph that says, I need this many people to buy it. Anyway.
Yeah, the supply curve, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was just an interesting bit of news this week. Like, the actual interview was pretty funny to watch because you could kind of see it in his faces, even though he's speaking Japanese and you just have English subtitles. You can see the point where he kind of like rolls his eyes, like, Americans.
That's sad that he thinks it's Americans.
Yeah,
not just
right.
some subclass of retards that like to mess with everyone's art and say, this woman is not womanly enough, but also she's too womanly, so we're going to make her a 2x4.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fantastic. I'm so glad that I get to play, well, in most cases, they're not a 2x4, they're a 4x8.
Fair point. I can picture that.
So it's like, yes, I'm so glad that I get to play with this piece of dimensional lumber that has zero personality.
Yeah.
Or zero, like, attributes that make them anything but, like, an NPC-looking piece of crap.
Uh-huh.
It's like...
adjacent to that, since you bring up an excellent point, I think it was also this week, I don't know if it was in response to the Dragon Quest creator, but the Final Fantasy creator, again, kind of the lead art guy, he commented this week, he's like, yeah, you see, my secret is that I make pretty characters as the protagonist because nobody wants to see an ugly protagonist. It was like,
whoa,
controversial. But all the Final Fantasy protagonists, you can argue all of them look the same, but even the male or the female ones, but they all look pretty.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what you're staring at for 80 plus hours in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whoa.
Well, and like... this is not to say that you don't have to, like, you can make a pretty character or a good looking character model and not have them be like overtly sexualized.
No, yeah, of course.
Like, you can do that, right? Like,
and you can have different character types, different body types. Like, it doesn't all have to be cookie cutter pretty. But to some extent, like, video games are a fantasy. You use them to get away from reality. I did hear a joke, I think, on some Reddit comment under that. It was like, well, yeah, I'm ugly in real life. I don't want to. I don't want to see myself represented in a video game. Why would I want to be reminded of that? I want to play someone pretty. It's a fantasy. You want to escape from reality.
I saw something that was saying similar vein, right? Where it's like dumb gamers have to see themselves in the character, and then like 90% of gamers see a Space Marine in battle armor and they say, "This is me." It's like, no, you're obviously not a Space Marine.
Obviously not you, but
obviously not a Space Marine because don't exist. But like, every guy sees themselves in Master Chief. Every guy sees them as a Space Marine when they're playing Space Marine 2.
I know I'm not a genetically engineered super soldier.
Exactly.
Like,
right?
Peak military prowess. Like, no, I don't have any of that
Swinging
training.
a power hammer, like, couldn't even lift one.
No. But the fantasy feels cool.
Yeah, and then you have,
I want
like,
to live that.
Then you have other game players, stupid people, who have to say, like, oh, this character represents me exactly. I'm so glad that there's an ugly hippopotamus, blue-haired, glasses-wearing character in this game, because that's me.
Just
it's like,
for me.
Well, how about you just like if there's a character creator and that's what you want to look like, fine.
Excellent.
But if there's a main character, how about we make the main character like amorphously pretty?
Did you see I think it was a joke of a mod, but in addition to that, right, we talked about Black Myth Wukong, where like everyone, all race, all guys were like, yes, monkey.
Yes, monkey strong.
Saw the mod this week that was like, it was Wukong, but he's in a wheelchair. And they showed some of the fight scene animations were very funny.
But did you see what Rainbow Six Siege is doing?
Oh, they actually had
they have a character that's coming out who's in a wheelchair.
Who's in a wheelchair. I thought that was a joke.
No.
Okay, that's
real.
Real from Rainbow Six. All right.
Which is, I mean, look.
It's a military tactical shooter game.
Look. There's a time and place to put characters into games. And you have to understand the genre of your game to put a character into it.
Yeah.
Like, if this were like, I don't know, a racing game?
Sure. I know this is from comic books originally, not video games, but all the Batman games, you have Oracle. She used to be Batgirl until she got paralyzed. She's canonically in a wheelchair. In all
Professor
the
X.
Yeah, Professor X. There you go. Like
you can do it in a respectful way that is still representative of the population.
Yes, absolutely.
But when you are just
you're like forcing you don't belong on the front lines of a battlefield. I'm sorry.
You're using rappelling equipment. I don't know if you've ever gone rappelling, Trevor. But like,
I couldn't do it, and I'm not.
50% or more of the work is done in your legs. Guess what people in wheelchairs don't have use of? It's not their arms. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. You can shoot a gun just fine in a wheelchair. Yeah.
And if they had a new map where like there was one location where like if you spawn in that location you can't get out of it, but you have a sniper rifle,
sure,
by all means, put them in a wheelchair. Fantastic. I know people who shoot guns who are in a wheelchair. Guess what they can't do very well? Move and shoot.
Move. Yeah.
They can do it a little bit, but like they're not going to be transferring weapons or throwing drones out
or breaching walls
and then jumping over mantles. Like
climbing stairs.
Oof, yikes.
There's stairs and ladders in that game. I mean
this is the problem with gaming. Is you're trying to force something that doesn't make sense into a game. Gamers by their nature are logical for the vast majority, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Because most games have puzzle aspects to them, or you're thinking through. Even in a game like Counter-Strike, where it's like
all tactical.
you're like on its surface is I shoot, enemy, I shoot.
Pretty simple controls.
But it's really like more like chess, because you're positioning and then you're counter positioning, but you don't actually know where they are until you've seen them. And then if you've seen them, you might be dead.
Yeah.
And so you're positioning and counter positioning, and I'm going to throw smokes over here. I'm going to flash here. I'm going to throw a decoy over here. I'm going to throw, I'm going to flash this way and then actually run this way. And then the next round, I'm going to do that again. And the next round, I'm going to do that again. And then this next round, I'm going to flash this way and run this way.
Strategy.
Because now they think like there's so much strategy. And when you throw something into a game that breaks that ability to have a logicalness to it, right? A logicality, I guess, to the game, it breaks the ability for you to play the game without having to think about that, right?
I was thinking about this actually just last night and this morning. It kind of related to just even other pieces of media, not necessarily video games. It's you can excuse, plot holes, or we can say gaps in logic when something like makes enough sense or is well written, or for the purpose of the game is well designed enough.
Sure.
But if something is so glaring, so obvious, a huge, logic gap, you can't excuse that.
Sure. I mean, and all games have to have some sort of assumption about the game, like
especially if it's a sci-fi thing.
Anything. Like even Counter-Strike, which is a real world shooter, right?
Modern shooter.
Like you have Navy SEALs, GIGN, and terrorists,
and whatever the British one's called,
SAS, right? You have those groups. It's like, okay, cool, but you're making the assumption that each other already knows that there's 2 bomb sites, that are targets, and you're in a confined area, and you're already both there, right?
Show up at the same time.
Realistically, that's not how that works.
No,
but because that's how the gameplay loop is, it doesn't matter, right?
I can excuse that,
yeah.
Whereas, the wheelchair operator.
But if you have, and if they had started out with a wheelchair operator, and every single map was quote unquote wheelchair friendly,
ADA compliant, in a video game,
like, might have been a little bit more excusable. But you have maps that have so much verticality to them, and so much, I'm jumping off balconies, I'm going up roofs.
Because it's already the game mechanic.
It's already the game mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, you doing that. And if this character can't do that, first of all, why would you play that character?
Yeah.
Second of all, if they can do that,
then
it's like, okay, come on. Like,
what's your animation for?
You just have Batman's wheelchair? Like,
and
maybe they do it well. I don't know. I haven't played that character,
or trailers or anything. That seems like if they really wanted to make, like a handicapped, paralyzed character, just give them like a cool like exoskeleton.
Yes,
frame.
exactly. Sure.
It's like, give them the backstory, the history, because I know all the operators in that game have a backstory. Just like,
and if you want them to be a representative of a handicapped group, a wheelchair bound group, have his introduction be him wheeling himself in, and then the exoskeleton and him standing up. That would be sick.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
That was his backstory. He got paralyzed, and then kind of genetic.
And like when they do the trailer for the operator, you have him like, oh, he was on a mission, he got shot in the spine, and is now paralyzed. But guess what? Exoskeletons, because we're cool.
He's back in the fight,
and he's back in the fight. Like, there you go. Guess what?
Can't keep him down.
Trevor, we need to start a video game consulting company.
I'm just saying,
because we literally we've been talking for 18 minutes, not about this game.
No. But I think we just made a better character design.
In, let's call it 5-10 minutes.
In a game like Rainbow Six, where the core game is already there, it's really all the new content is character design.
Characters and I don't even think they do new weapons.
I don't think so. Some of the new characters have new like equipments.
It's mostly abilities, equipments.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I haven't played a lot of Rainbow Six. I played a little bit way back when.
Tried. It's tough
these days.
Sweaty.
Ubisoft is their publisher, and Ubisoft might be going under.
I did see that actually. That the Tencent's thinking about buying them.
Tencent's thinking about buying Ubisoft,
which LOL, right? Is Tencent, and
Tencent is
massive, biggest video game company in the world.
They got their hand in everything.
Yeah. Don't they own part of Epic?
Probably. They're from China.
Yeah.
They got a little bit of everything. So Tencent buying Ubisoft would be like, I don't know. I mean, lesser of two evils. I'm not a fan of Ubisoft, but I'm not the biggest fan of Tencent either. So
Didn't they have a hand in the Titanfall games?
they might have, because that would have been what are they called? Massive Entertainment, I think.
I don't remember. I feel like I remembered like seeing Tencent on Titanfall. I don't know.
Yeah, they're big enough to the point where we've talked about in previous episodes. They're not really a video game company. They're just an investment firm.
They're a video game investment firm.
Yeah, they just.
Well, that's what all these companies are. Hi-Rez, Ubisoft. Ubisoft isn't producing the game.
No, yeah.
Ubisoft has studios that they've bought up.
They just publish.
And they have all the overhead accounting and HR bull crap.
So I don't know the actual developer for Rainbow Six, but maybe
Ubisoft. I think it actually was Ubisoft.
Oh, okay.
When Ubisoft still developed games. Because it's been out for like 15 years.
Yeah, a long time. It was one of their first ones on their own platform, Uplay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just a mess. It's a mess.
Ubisoft. But
there it is.
There it is.
Honestly, I've been thinking about this. I think this is a good thing. I think all these big video game companies failing, having abysmal failures in some cases, I think they're going to see that gamers want, and even non-gamers, want a story that is traditional and compelling.
Yeah.
And if you give them that, they will play that game to its death.
It's true.
I mean, like, everyone's saying, oh, Helldivers has fallen off. It's like, has it though? It's still got like 60,000 people playing it at a time, any given time.
Very significant, yeah.
On Steam, right?
Yeah.
And they're on PlayStation.
Yep.
So like, I don't know how many people are playing it on PS. But
yeah,
you know, it's like
really
there are still people who play Battlefront. No, not Battlefront. This is Black Ops 2.
Black Ops 2, yeah.
There's still people who play Black Ops 2.
10-year-old game, at least.
And it's like,
yeah, there's still people who play indie games. Like,
yeah,
every time there's a Steam sale, a lot of indie games see the the player count go up. I mean, it's.
Yep. I mean, games can be quote unquote eternal.
Are you saying the games industry is healing, Steven?
I'm saying that I think that Ubisoft failing is going to release a lot of capital into the independent markets.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are going to stop paying $70 to $150 for a game that is mediocre at best or abysmal on the other hand.
Stop doing these AAA, quadruple A failures.
And they're going to say, I'm going to go find a game. I'm going to go spend my $40 on Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go spend my $40 on Satisfactory. And I'm going to go have 500 hours of a great time building my factory.
Escape into the fantasy.
And guess what? There's no message behind it.
There's no real world. You don't need to.
There's no real world application of it.
Don't need to see yourself in the game. No.
And you know what? That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw an article that was being roasted, right? The article was Black Myth Wukong, months after release, has finally had a drop off in players. What's wrong with the game? It's like, it's a single player game.
People are done with the game.
They finished. It was a storyline game that, they put 100 hours, whatever.
They don't have a season pass. It's not a live service game.
I saw something interesting.
You buy the game, you play it, you go on to the next one.
This is an interesting idea, and I read it this morning, and I was kind of thinking about it. And it was from Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, okay.
And he was saying that the worst thing, not the worst, but he was saying one of the bad parts of the American culture is that, and this goes for government and business and products.
Okay.
Is that once you do something, you can't stop.
Okay.
So his example was if you have a pharmaceutical company and you develop a drug that eradicates and cures a disease,
Sure.
right? Whatever disease you want to choose, so that it no longer exists, it would be the congratulations, you've won.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
It would be great if you take all of that profit that you've made, all the gazillions of dollars for eradicating this disease, distribute that to shareholders, and close shop.
Yeah, just you're done.
Because you have done your goal. If you want to do another disease, start a new company. That's what he's saying. He's like, you don't need to have this legacy company that is trying to like, oh, we have this company that had 1,000 employees. We have to, and we've eradicated this disease that we've been working on for 15 years.
Yeah.
What are we going to do now? It's like his theory or his thought process was just close shop.
Whereas instead, the normal process is like, oh, we gotta keep going. We can't stop. Like, we have money, we'll invest it into the next thing,
and so that's why video games are all live service now.
Yeah,
is because of this. It's like you can just make a video game that's 100 hours of gameplay for $50, $40, $30.
People buy it, play it, and move on.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe they come back in a year when you drop the expansion pack.
If you drop an expansion,
yeah,
which you should, for loyal fans, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, but it's easier, I think, and probably makes more money to do the live service formula where you just
I don't think that over the life of if you were to take 20 years of the game company, right? And you have one company who every 4 or 5 years drops a new game that is a one-time thing, and then they maybe have a DLC, right?
Yeah.
But like it's a one-time, you buy it, you play it, no live service, right? If you have that versus a company that is live service on 1 or 2 games, I'll bet you that the one company, the first company that has produced more games, has a better net profit line than the big company.
Yeah. That's
I bet their percent return to shareholders would be better.
Right. We mentioned Baldur's Gate 3. Their developer is Larian Studios. They're relatively indie. They are a big indie company, but it still is like 30-something employees, I think.
That's a very small company.
They're indie. They work on one game at a time.
That's a small company.
Yeah, totally. Their budget is bigger than like the one dude in his garage.
Sure.
Understandably. That's why we said we maybe need different classifications for indie games. But anyway.
I would still consider that very indie.
I agree.
I don't think...
I've seen the sentiment from other individual game developers, and they're like, that's been Baldur's Gate 3. I can't compete in the same category as that. I'm like, well, I guess not, but...
Make a good game.
Yeah. Get you and a couple more buddies, and then
Yes.
But
just suck. Make a good game.
They only make one game at a time. Baldur's Gate 3 came out last year. They had 1 year of content updates and patches. They just came out with their last one, and they said, we're done. Like, we're going to move on to the next game. And they kind of joked like, yeah, the next game's coming out in 2028 or whatever, like 4 years from now. Because that's their cycle. That's their formula. Like,
and you know what? Their overhead, this is what I say. The gross revenue amount might not be comparable.
Sure, yeah.
Because live service games do bring in a ton of money. But guess what you have to have with live service games? You have to have programmers who are constantly updating the game.
Yep.
You have to have content people. You have to have artists. You have to have oodles of accountants.
Advertisement.
Oodles of advertisement and oodles of managers and oodles of... Your overhead just balloons extraordinarily.
For a live service.
Whereas if you have Larian Studios, who makes one game, everyone is focused on that one game.
Yep.
You have 1 or maybe 2 accountants for the entire company.
Sure.
1 project manager to make sure everything's going on schedule and help manage everything, right? Then you have programmers and artists who are just working on that.
And your advertisement is like Twitter and word of mouth. Like,
and maybe you have 1 marketing guy who draws cool posters.
Yeah.
You know? Like 30 people is a good sized team.
I'd agree, yeah.
And like 30 people can accomplish a ton of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Baldur's Gate 3, Game of the Year.
Well, exactly, right? And like, you don't have the massive amounts of overhead.
Yeah.
And think of server capacity. Like, if you have a live service game, you have to pay for servers for so long.
Yeah, because you if you already sold season passes, especially, you made that promise to people. So even if the game is dying,
because Baldur's Gate, you own the game, right?
Yeah.
It's not a server-based game.
Nope, yeah.
You can connect to other people, but it's computer to computer,
yeah.
right? It's not computer server computer.
Correct. Yep.
It's
you can play with your Steam friends, but it's, there is a multiplayer actually online, I believe. You can hop on, so they might have some few sparing amount of servers. I don't actually know anyone who just like hops on and plays a public D&D game in Baldur's Gate, but maybe. But their last update just released easy mod content, like built-in integrated mods. So they were like, at this point, you guys update the game, we're done.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect.
That's great.
So yeah, they might keep paying a little bit for the servers and maybe some bug fixes every now and then.
And there's plenty of games studios that are like this,
and that's normal. Yeah, that's not the new live service model.
Which is why I think that we're gonna return to nature.
Gaming is healing.
Yeah, I think it is. I hope it is.
Certainly, yeah. That's the news I heard this week, right? With the Justice League kill the Suicide Squad. No, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
Yeah,
that terrible game that came out a few months ago. They just dropped their like season 3 of their season pass because they promised 5 seasons, I think, and so there's no players left on that game.
I wonder what the current players are.
Oh yeah, less than 300, I think. When their new content update dropped, but nobody's playing. But they it's a live service game, and they guaranteed so much content. They have to keep making it legally. And
that's crazy.
They're just bleeding money right now.
That's crazy.
I forget their developer even, but
Squad kill the Justice League.
Saturday morning, you're looking at how many players they have?
Yep.
Error. Number not found.
SteamDB is the one you look at, right?
Yeah. Usually your Steam charts, but I think that just reroutes to SteamDB.
Chart. I don't see. It has a total of 23 reviews
On Steam?
on Steam.
Wow, I thought it would have had less. Or more.
23 is what this says.
Huh. Oh, because maybe you can't leave a review unless you buy it. The headline I saw earlier this week was that, they only got a bump of 100 players from 200 to 300.
Okay, I found it.
You found it, okay.
Oh, so I was wrong. I see what I was doing. I accidentally clicked on the DLC page.
The DLC only, gotcha.
Yeah. So there's 10,000 reviews.
10,000 reviews, that makes more sense.
With a 67%.
Negative?
No, positive.
Oh, 67% positive. So mostly...
There's currently 224 people in game.
There you go. Saturday morning, 200 people for a $60 live service game that came out 4 months ago.
The all-time peak was 8 months ago.
8 months ago.
I bet you can't guess.
10,000?
You're close. 13,500.
13,000, okay.
So
people thought it was going to be good. I don't know. Not that good. Starfield came out with their first DLC.
I did see that.
And we're just bagging on all of them one after the other because these are all coming to my mind now fresh.
Well, I mean, it's just proving our point.
Starfield's not live service per se, but that's almost a different issue. That was a bad game from the start. They tried to drop a DLC, and the surprise, the DLC was bad to a bad game. In my opinion, some people like Starfield. I think it's an utter waste of time. Maybe if I was 8 years old.
That's what I didn't play it.
And I could sit through 120 new loading screens and the new DLC. No, nobody's got time for that.
Yeah.
And don't tell me, my computer. I bought a brand new computer, new processor, came with Starfield. It can handle Starfield loading screens, but the loading screens were just too big. They were too many.
Yeah, that's too bad.
The game was unplayable.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I don't think the DLC is helping them out at all. The one tick I saw is this is because Bethesda who makes that. It's like don't get excited for the next Elder Scrolls, guys. Just keep playing Skyrim. It's what we talked about.
Oblivion.
It's what we talked about last week. These big game studios today are not the ones that you used to know. Don't get caught up in that nostalgia.
Nope.
The rose-tinted glasses. The Bethesda today is not the same Bethesda that made Skyrim.
In my opinion, you should look at every game release as a single item.
Which is hard, yeah, because it's
hard.
It's
very
nostalgia
difficult.
wants to grab you, yeah.
And but like look at Halo Infinite.
Oh yeah.
The reason that game was quote unquote successful is because it's a Halo game.
Halo.
And they had 5 or 6 other games that were fantastic.
And that one's even maybe a good example or a bad example because everyone knows that the company swapped halfway through.
Yeah.
Whereas, so it is at least a different name on the box, even though it's the same Halo, the same series. Whereas you look at like Bethesda, or last week we talked BioWare, you're like, BioWare, I love them. And there wasn't an obvious shift halfway through of like, this is a different company.
Yep.
But really it is.
Yep. Yeah, it's sad. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Not looking forward. Well, kind of looking forward. There's some.
I'm very interested to see what happens.
There's some
ultimately, the thing that's going to happen is that gamers are going to game, and if there's no games that gamers want to play,
they'll go play old games.
They'll go play old games, or they'll make their own games.
Also true. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There are plenty of people online who are making fantastic games as solo developers or small 5-man team development companies.
Yeah, dude.
They're making great games.
Check out every Steam sale. Go look at the indie games. You'll pick something up. You'll have a good 10, 12 hours. Like,
yep.
Solid. There's some good content out there. So,
some great content. What else we got?
Controversy. Let's move on to Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah,
another video game. They're always dropping news on Monday. What is with that, Wizards of the Coast? We record these on Saturday.
We're a week behind.
By the time our video posts on Tuesday, it's like there was already news on Monday.
Yeah,
we're already outdated.
Tis the news cycle.
We just can't keep up unless we go daily.
Yikes!
Our loyal fans. Yeah, you can make us go daily.
They could. They could. Crazy.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. I completely forgot what we were going to talk about.
Rules Committee last week banned some cards. Kind of sucks, whatever, but it's a made-up format. It's a fan-made format, so the Rules Committee they control it, not Wizards of the Coast. This week on Monday, Commander Rules Committee official, they were like, we're done, we're out. Yep. We resign and we hand the keys of the kingdom over to Wizards of the Coast. So now Wizards of the Coast owns Commander. It is official. Clickbait. I don't know.
It's official. Yeah, it's
Wizards of the Coast controls Commander.
It's a little bit unfortunate.
It was a fan-made format for years, I think 2 decades probably at this point.
Yeah, 20 years I think was kind of the consensus of over 20 years.
Because it used to be EDH, Elder Dragon Highlander, and you played with only the original 5 Elder Dragons was the point from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
It's evolved into the most popular format ever, and I think Wizards of the Coast was maybe a little bitter that they didn't have enough hands in that pie. At some point, obviously, they started marketing solely Commander because they knew it was the most popular. And now that they have full control over it, as we saw their announcement this week, they have big plans.
Yeah, they do. It's a little bit unfortunate that people had a lot of money that got trashed.
Yeah, totally.
Because the value of their cards that they had bought or unboxed or whatever had been decimated.
Yeah, Rules Committee decided in our casual format, you can't play with these cards anymore. Officially.
Yeah.
Casual.
And so the value of those cards dropped dramatically. I actually looked it up the other day. and
what
you
are
can
they at?
get some of the mana crypts that are like the special arts
Oh, okay, yeah.
are still at like $400.
Yeah, those were like very
But they were like
premium.
$900, $700 to $900 previously,
Yeah.
depending on the grading, right? But now they're like, you can pick them up for like $400 or $500, depending on which one.
Mhm.
The jeweled lotuses are like, I think I saw them for $40 or $50.
Okay, down from like 100.
Yeah. So they've lost all those cards have basically lost half their value,
At least,
right?
probably.
And the rules committee was receiving death threats,
Yeah,
which was very surprising to me.
but I found that interesting. Random side note, I don't want to jump into that. I never saw any of the death threats. I don't doubt that
Yeah.
they received them, but it just sucks. I don't want to say boy who cried wolf, but it's like, I guess, was it just like a Xbox Live message, Xbox 360 message? Hey, go kill yourself. We got that all the time on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Along with a number of other pejorative slurs. Or were these like
gamer words?
Or were these very serious, like,
So
I know where you live, and I'm like, I can't believe you.
So the professor, the Tellurian Community College professor,
Yeah.
he said that he knows a lot of the people who were on the rules committee,
Yeah.
and that the death threats that they received were like being sent to the police.
Oh, okay.
like,
They
take
were
action
actually
on.
like,
So,
real. Okay.
That's what he said.
All right.
He's a third party source, so like, but
Okay.
I don't agree with like all of his stances politically
Mhm.
because he does throw a little bit of politics in there every once in a while,
Yeah.
which I don't agree with. But like overall, I think he's a stand-up, like trustworthy guy.
Sure, yeah.
For the most part, right? Like I don't ever get the vibe that he's like a charlatan or a scammer or anything like that.
His
So
product reviews are still the best in the business.
I agree. Sometimes I think they're a little bit overhyped.
Oh, yeah. He started out just doing like sleeves and deck boxes. I think he's definitely the go-to expert.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff, yes. But like some of the like set reviews, I'm like,
Oh, yeah, sure.
you really have this highly of an opinion about this set? Okay.
Yeah.
But in any case, so yeah, they had the death threats.
Death threats, which for an unpaid job is not worth.
Yeah. That was I just learned that 2 days ago that it was an unpaid job. I didn't know that. I thought they had some sort of stipend that there was. I don't know where it was coming from, but in my mind, I just thought like, oh, rules committee.
The official rules committee of Commander, like the most popular Magic the Gathering format. They decide the banned list and the rules and everything,
and I assumed that there was some sort of.
It was just free.
Yeah.
Some of them were also Wizards of the Coast employees, but that was just by happenstance.
Yeah. Sure. So anyway,
one of them was a famous content creator, used to be a pro player as well. I think she was the one who spoke out as like getting the most death threats or something. So
yeah, so now that Wizards has control of it, they've announced this great plan to rank the cards.
It's a great plan.
And if you want to know more about it, you can look it up. It's all over the internet. You can find it.
Plenty of daily Magic content creators talking about it.
Oh yeah, but their idea is one of the worst ideas I've ever seen for a card game.
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, though, if they can overcome the PR issues of it, I think they're going to make so much money doing it.
It does, like, I joke, like, yeah, they had a great plan waiting for Commander, because it does seem like it will make a lot of money, actually. Like,
so they have this ranking system. Tier 1 is base level pre-con. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Tier 4 is like CEDH level.
Most competitive, the strongest decks. Like,
I think I guarantee that they're going to come out with a tier 3, tier 4 deck.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be a CEDH ready pre-con, basically. Right.
You can pick it up at your local games. You pick it up at Walmart, maybe not Walmart,
for $1,000.
$1,000. Yeah. It's got all of the staples, all of those expensive $100 cards,
and Soul Ring.
Whereas what you buy now at Walmart is the $40 or $50 pre-constructed decks is like the lowest tier. That's the entry to Commander.
But they still slap, dude.
Yes, especially the new ones. They're slapping.
Yeah.
I don't approve of them being any more than $40, but I think that's a good value. There's a good entry point for new players.
I think so.
But if they are claiming maybe that they're going to start selling these tier 2 slightly better pre-constructed decks, like Commander Masters, right? That whole fiasco with their $100 pre-constructed decks that were not any better than the previous ones.
Nope.
that was atrocious.
They
but
were just fancy.
if you make $100 precons and now you're saying they are actually better and that's quantifiable, then maybe that's okay, because then they'll have the tier 3 at 500 and the tier 4 at 1,000. Like,
I think it's it's a slippery slope, because like at that point it's like, okay, but like, why would you, if you can take a $50 precon and by adding another $20 of cards make it a level 3 deck, why would you spend $500 on a level 3 deck?
Yeah.
You know, because their idea is like, if one card is a level 3 card, that is now a level 3 deck. The rest could be literally chaff.
Yeah.
And you could have
basically
a demonic tutor in it, and now it's a level 4 deck. It's like, oh yes, I'm going to go tutor for my goblin novelist or whatever, crime novelist.
It's
like,
right. Like, yeah,
okay.
I did see a YouTube creator talk about that. He's like, sometimes I build janky combo decks that are goofy and fun or just like unpopular, but you have to play like a tutor, which is regarded as a strong card.
Tier 3, tier 4.
But you're like, no, but this is just like my goofy casual combo where I want to make infinite unicorns or something dumb like that. Yeah.
I'm curious to see if the price of individual card that are ranked tier 4 skyrockets.
Well, I'm actually intrigued by the opposite of that. If Wizards of the Coast, I'm always in favor of reprints because that brings the value of things down, right? If they print these $1,000 tier 4 decks, they're going to need to reprint a lot of these tier 4 cards, which doesn't cost anything for Wizards of the Coast because they don't look at the secondary market and they don't make money off the secondary market. But they'll have to print these expensive cards, reprint them, which generally brings the value down. So in order to make a retail, they don't have retail prices anymore, but in order to make a suggested retail $1,000 deck, they're going to need to put more than $1,000 worth of value of cards in there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which then will probably equalize out so that people will buy the $1,000 deck thinking it's a good deal instead of buying them individually on the secondary market. So maybe initially they might go up, like you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good point, though.
But I think eventually Wizards of the Coast, once they start shipping out these, I'm sure they have plans.
Or I wonder if people are going to say, I don't want to play, if I'm going to be playing Kitchen Table Magic, this is a tier 4 card. I don't want a tier 4 deck.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of my demonic tutors.
I'll get rid of them,
and drop the price. That could also be a thing.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
I know a lot of people are just like, all right, Commander's not for me anymore. They're kind of bowing out.
I've been thinking that a little bit. I'm like, Standard sounded pretty fun.
Standard?
Modern's too expensive.
Pauper's
cheap. True.
Yeah, so people backing out entirely, or people just like totally closing themselves off. Just like, all right, no more Magic the Gathering content for me. I have my kitchen table group, and that's it. That's all I'm playing. But for people who don't have their own group, you have to go to local game stores, and local game stores need the same set of rules to follow.
Yep.
I mean, you can post like, our store plays with these rules, or this banned list, which sucks because like Commander is a casual format. You can play with whatever rules you want, unless you don't have friends that agree to play with those rules with you. So
the professor had a really good video that he put out two days ago. It was a casual conversation that he had. He was opening packs.
Opening packs.
Jeez, that was difficult.
Unboxing cards.
He was opening packs and just talking about it. And he prefaced it by saying, this is an unscripted video. This is off the cuff. Like he did a lot of that, which I thought was good, but interesting that he did it.
Yeah. Because
most of his videos are heavily scripted and he thinks about his opinions very, very thoroughly. But he was saying like, Rule 0 is like the end all be all of the format.
It's still there, yeah.
If you're not having fun, then stop playing that person, right? And he said he's had experiences where he would be playing and he says, hey, I don't want to play against that deck again for these 3 reasons. Like, if you'd want to play that deck again, I'm going to have to find someone else to play with.
Yeah.
You know? Which, like, if you're not a douche canoe, you're like, oh, yeah, this is an oppressive deck. I built it that way because I wanted to see how it would work. Thanks for sitting through one game. I'll play my Tyranids precon now. Oh, by the way, my Tyranids precon, I've switched out the stupid Goliath truck for an all will be one. So there's one combo in there. It's like everyone's like, okay, it's still a Tyranids Precon.
It's a tier 1 deck with a random infinite combo. Maybe that doesn't make it a tier 3.
No,
whatever. Like, yeah, you're right. I think that's a fair point of his. Like, the point of the game is to have fun. So yeah, play to have fun. I mean,
yeah,
with the people. Is your friendship more important than like you just really wanting to win and play this super cool, combo and just win every time on turn 3? Like, that's competitive. And you'll go play a competitive format for that.
Yeah. Commander's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be. That's why it's a singleton format.
Yeah.
Is because you're supposed to get a variety of things that happen out of one deck.
Every game is different.
If you want to play a game where the same thing happens with every single time you play the same deck, go play Standard, or go play Modern, or go play Pauper.
You can run duplicates. Yep. You want that consistent strategy.
Yep. If you're playing a competitive thing, go play a competitive format. Yeah. Commander is not supposed to be a competitive format. Done.
End of story. Wizards of the Coast, get out of here.
Done, Trevor.
Well, let's talk about some fun stuff then. There were some leaks, some Magic leaks we can talk about.
We could.
Yeah.
You want to talk about those?
Yeah.
I chose one of them as my final card of the week, so
okay.
You can't steal that one from me.
Sure thing. These are all but confirmed leaks. They weren't taken on a potato camera, but
all the other leaks ever.
But they are. They look like it's going to be the secret layer that I think they already announced.
Oh, it's only a secret layer?
I believe so.
I thought it was a full set.
I think initially it's going to be a secret layer.
That's dumb.
Because these have the SLD secret layer drop on the cards.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, right. Everyone's pretty sure these are real, but I took a screenshot in case they got scrubbed from the internet. Because sometimes a lot of the like leaks get erased. Like, oh, you're not allowed. But they have a Captain America, Wolverine, and Iron Man Magic the Gathering cards. Look pretty good. The art looks cool.
There's also a Black Panther one.
There's a Black Panther. I was going to save that one for you. Surprise.
Spoiler alert!
But yeah, so they have Captain America, First Avenger. Did you see all these?
I've only seen the one that I chose.
Okay. Captain America, First Avenger. He's America colors, obviously. Red, white, and blue.
I'm so glad they did that.
Yeah, right. So he's a 3-mana 4/4 human soldier hero. I think they all made him heroes. Kind of interesting. All the Marvel characters. He has 3 mana unattached equipment from Captain America, and then he deals damage to that equipment's mana value divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. So he throws his shield and it bounces.
Oh.
And then his other abilities at the beginning of combat on your turn, you attach up to 1 equipment onto him. So you can pay 3 and unattach to like deal some damage, and then every turn in combat you get 1 equipment back for free. That's it. That's all he does. Simple card design.
Super good.
Very flavorful, very simple. And red, white, and blue.
So at the end of the turn it does that? Or
no,
you can pay 3 whenever.
And unattach and equipment is your cost. So he does have to have.
So you just do it right before your turn.
Yeah, right before combat at any point.
And then at the beginning of combat you attach something?
Mm-hmm. You can also just, pay the equip cost to attach things normally.
Sure.
Yeah, seems fun. Seems good.
What's the hammer that makes you lose flying?
Colossus Hammer.
It
only is mana value 1, so if you unattach it, you'll only deal 1 damage.
Its equip value is 8.
Yeah, the equip value is expensive. So you get to equip this for free onto him, which is good.
But then you only get to deal 1 damage. That's like
when you remove it. So you'd rather just keep it on to give him +10/+10.
There's a couple equipments that are pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm. World Slayer. It's like an 8-mana equipment, I think.
Yeah. Isn't there one of the helms that's like 6 or 7 too?
Helm of the Host is 4, I think.
I don't remember. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
Captain America, and I'll send you some of the screenshots. I only have one screenshot of all of them together, but I'll try to zoom in so we can.
What's
put the
Iron
links.
Man?
Iron Man is red and blue, which makes sense because that's usually kind of the.
Is it red and blue?
Is it red and blue? Confirmed. It's usually the inventor color, the kind of all the scientists. So he's a 5 mana 4/4 flying haste. They made him an artifact creature as well, I guess. Maybe. 4/4 flying haste. When he attacks, you create a treasure token. Then you may sacrifice a non-creature artifact. If you do, it's like a birthing pod. So you search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value, and put it onto the battlefield tapped. That's referred to as the birthing pod effect because birthing pod did that with creatures. You can, if you sacrifice a 0 cost token, you can go get a 1 cost creature out of your deck. If you sacrifice a 1 cost, you can go get a 2. So this lets you sacrifice artifacts to go get an artifact with +1 cost out of your library anytime you attack. Seems alright. Not amazing in my opinion, but he's okay.
It doesn't tickle my fancy.
He's a 4/4 with flying and haste, so you get to do that right away. That's cool.
It's fair.
And then Wolverine seems pretty good. He's a Gruul because you got to be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Wolverine. 1, a red and a green. Human. No, sorry, he's not a human. He's a mutant, which is a creature type. Mutant Berserker, both uncommon creature types, but
yeah,
I just played the mutant deck yesterday, or 2 days ago. So he's a 2/2,
2 mana 2/2,
3 mana 2/2. Yeah. But he, this is the one that seems a little odd. I don't think these are fake. I think these have basically been unofficially confirmed, but the wording does seem weird that it just doubles all damage Wolverine would deal, but not double strike. So you can still get double strike. He deals double damage.
so he could have quadruple damage.
Yeah. And then at the beginning of each end step, if Wolverine dealt damage to another creature this turn, you put a 1/1 counter on him. And then you can pay 2 mana, 1 and a green to regenerate.
That's cool.
Yeah. He's gotta have regenerate on Wolverine, so.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah. He deals a lot of damage.
I mean, it'd definitely be a Voltron deck.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, you'd build it
Red and green.
But cool.
Big Wolverine. So
Yeah.
I'm excited if that's only the beginning of the Marvel set. I wasn't sure maybe 6 months ago or whenever they announced it, really Marvel and Magic the Gathering, but that Captain America flavor was pretty on point. So
Yeah, they did well on that one.
Mhm.
The last one is the King of Wakanda.
King of Wakanda.
So it's Black Panther, Wakandan King.
Oh, okay.
So he's, I know this combo. Green and white is Tamir?
Mm-mm.
No. I got
It is the most uncommon color pairing in Commander, I think, as of 3 years ago. I probably need an updated statistic on that, but Selesnya.
I didn't know that.
No.
I thought I knew that. Didn't know that.
You don't know your Ravnican guilds?
No, sir.
You got to go back to Magic the Gathering school.
I've only been playing for a year and a half. Well,
Often.
yeah.
Yeah.
I only learned the rules a year and a half ago.
I only know the rules last week.
Yeah, he's, in my opinion, the coolest one. So, green and white for a 2/2. So 2 for a 2/2 with first strike. Pretty good.
Good, yeah.
He's a human noble hero. So he's got 3 creature types.
He's the king. He's
Yep.
noble.
He's got 2 abilities. One is Survey the Realm, and that's whenever Black Panther or another creature you control enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target land you control.
Yeah. A +1/+1 counter
On a land.
on your land.
Which is cool if you have man lands.
That's true, yeah.
It'd be pretty sweet.
Mm.
But this is the cool part. His other one is called Mine Vibranium.
Flavorful.
Pay 3 mana. Move all 1/1 counters from target land you control onto target creature. If one or more 1/1 counters are moved this way, you gain that much life and draw a card.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, that's sweet.
Yeah, because you can, every time a creature enters, so you have 10 creatures enter, you throw all the counters on one land, and then you mine it. You just pay 3 mana with him, and you move those 10 counters probably onto him.
Well, at instant speed, though.
Yeah, at instant speed. So you have one big thing, and then you already had lots of little things.
Well, in my opinion, what you do is you swing with all your little things. Let's say you have 10 little things enter.
Yeah.
You swing with all 10 of them, and then it's like, oh yeah, that one didn't get blocked. Pay 3. Now he's a 10/10.
He's the big boy now. You also gain that much life, and you draw a card. Yeah, nice.
I mean, there's no downsides with this
That's
guy.
just icing on the cake.
He's 2 mana with first strike, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever he enters the battlefield, or anything else enters the battlefield, well, any other creature enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on a land, which removing 1/1 counters from lands is difficult, to say the least.
You have to, destroy the land.
Destroy the land,
basically.
Right? But then I could pay 3 and just move the counters to any other creature I have.
Because it is still
in response.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could oh, you're going to destroy it? Well, I'm going to tap it first and then 2 others and then remove all of them. And it's like, oh, well, you destroyed my random forest.
Bummer.
Darn, I'm in green and white. I have ramp.
So what you're telling me is Black Panther land destruction deck. Mass land destruction.
Mm-hmm. Seems good. No.
Does not seem good. He's very rude.
But yeah, I mean, he was the one that I kind of was like, yeah. He's probably going to be the Selesnya deck that I build first.
Yeah.
I just don't have a green-white deck.
I still don't have a green-white deck.
I mean, like, he's cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that is fitting. Most green-white decks seem like, to me personally, they all just, like, make a bunch of humans.
Well, that's what I mean, like, I'm going to be making squirrels and angels.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
Sapperlings.
Green and white put together, squirrels and angels.
Angel squirrels. Flying squirrels.
Yeah, flying squirrels.
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go. I hope they make something. Surely there's like a flying squirrel token. A squirrel that is a 1/1 that has flying.
I don't think so.
Come on, Wizards. Like, you got to give me a flying squirrel token.
We need it eventually.
We could build it in our America deck.
Yeah.
Because it'll be the giant redwoods. We'll make it an ent.
Okay.
And whenever it does something, it makes a flying squirrel.
Flying squirrels.
Because it's such a tall tree that the squirrel is going to fly instead of just jump at you.
That's fair. Okay. I see it.
Yeah. All the big redwoods that are named, we'll have all of those in the deck, and they'll be all mono green or something like that.
Would that just be like the National Parks deck?
No, it's the America deck.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought we were going to do a whole set, like America set.
Oh, we could.
We could do like a set of pre-cons, right?
It could be, let's see, it could be the green, no, here you go. Green, red, white. I don't know what color combination that is.
Naya.
Because then you could do like the Arches National Park with the red and the white, and the Grand Canyon with the green and the red, and the,
the redwoods. Oh, yeah. The Rocky Mountains.
Oh, you should probably throw some blue in there too for like the lakes and the rivers and stuff
all
like
the natural stuff. It would be non-black then. Can be all the natural stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you include like the swamps of Florida or something. I don't know.
No, they're still more green though.
Yeah, really.
Although alligators are in the game already, I guess.
Yeah.
Or crocodiles. Anyway. I seriously think we should make this a set.
The America set.
The America set.
Just saying, Wizards. You can come to us for ideas.
You could have the President's deck, the National Parks deck, the nature deck.
Yeah, nature.
Do the military deck as like an artifact deck.
Okay.
What would the last one be?
Just like, I don't know, science, innovation, something like that?
It'd have to be something interesting.
Yeah. You could have just all of the, I don't know, the American Auto Workers Union, and then you just have all the like companies. The capitalism deck.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
With all like the treasure tokens and food tokens. And,
right? Like, and shipping. I don't know. You're shipping them to different places.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be fun.
Yeah. The American set.
Do you think like Wizards would ever do that where it's like people can like make a set and then like present it to them and be like, hey, I would just want like royalties.
They have so much. In theory, they are very like tight on the creative control and the game design of their sets. That's why anytime there's even leaks, they sent the Pinkertons to somebody's house one time. Like, they're very protective of their IP.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. But
That's true. I guess I say that, but I don't know what company isn't protective of their IP. It is a pretty important thing to do. So
yeah. Alrighty, well, short episode. We got stuff to do.
Let's call it
7 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching.
there it is. Bum, bum, bum.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.